Hi, Russ Keller
Hello.
here, and we're back with UFO Paranormal TV. And I have two guests this evening, and it's Lala Bright and Bob. Is it McGowan? Is it
McGuire.
McGuire? Sorry, yeah, it's all right. I need to tell you something. I need my specs on. Right. So I have been communicating with Lala Bright now. On Facebook and an amazing person to speak to, and she's introduced me to Bob. And right, well, let's see your story. Lala Bright is an experiencer, and her and Bob have got together with the interest in this subject. So, where did this all start for you, Lala? Please.
Um, so I am, my father was a sensitive and he had experiences too. And he was a little psychic, but he did a lot of healing, Reiki healing. I'm a psychic medium that didn't realize I was also talking and communicating with other beings besides spirits until later on in my life. I just knew they felt different. Um, and so I always hid from what I was. I never accepted it because of how people treated me. So, and I'm super shy. So, a few years ago, I lost my mom, dad, and boyfriend of 15 years. And I decided that I wanted to help people talk to their loved ones that they lost so that their hearts would heal a little bit, you know? Um, and so accidentally, I saw him on YouTube and I just got this overwhelming feeling to contact. I didn't know who he was, but to contact him, and I did. And we became Facebook friends. And then he lost his mom, and I gave him a reading. And it kind of went, it blew up from there, you know. So
Let me tell you about the reading, just to give people an introduction. And then, look, I'm a scientist. I have a degree in applied math, and I was the chief scientist at the Hume Center for National Security and Technology at Virginia Tech. It's the most well-supported research institute at Virginia Tech. So I'm a true scientist, left brain kind of guy, and here's my right brain over here. Okay, so she reached out to me and said to me, I see your mother's failing. I'm so sorry. When she passes, come back and get a reading. Well, at that moment, I didn't really know she was going to pass. So I went to visit her, and she was put on hospice. And it was her living will / medical advanced medical directive that said how she was to be treated by the staff once she got on hospice. And so this was end of life measures. So she began to fail, and she began to see deceased relatives and talk to them while my family and I were in the room. So I went, this woman told me she would help me talk to her, and my mother's talking to my deceased relatives. So let me go back. So we had the funeral. I went back home. I contacted her and said I would like the reading. I didn't tell her anything about the stuff. I don't think she even knew about the stuff going on in my mother's room until like within the last month, because I just forgot to tell her. Anyway, so I told her I'd have the reading. So we began the reading, and my mother came through to her and began to tell her things as validation that only my mother and I knew. No one else knew it. So we continued. And after that, my mother and began to tell me things through Lala that I did not know. And the stuff that I did not know was easy to check. My mother told me things that I did not know that she knew, but that I could easily check by checking with relatives and friends and so forth. So that's the way it went. And then immediately following that, my grandmother showed up, and here's how it worked. Here's how it went. Lala said, "Well, your mother's still here, but there's this little short 5'2" lady,
Grumpy.
grumpy, bossy lady with curly brown hair with red highlights. And I keep hearing this word and I don't know what it means. And she keeps saying Tweety. I can't hear what else she's trying to say because we're not really good connect, but I hear the word Tweety. And Russ, if I had any doubt before that moment, I had no doubt after that moment. When I was younger than 1, my grandmother would keep me and she would call me Sweetie. And I was too young to talk good, so I couldn't say Sweetie. So I called her Tweety. So Tweety became my grandmother's name. And I just knew then that the person I was talking to was real and that she had real abilities. And we've gone on from there, and she's read all my relatives. And I've had conversations with all my relatives. They've given me advice. They've told me things I needed to do and think about. And it just went well. Okay, so, and following that, the last thing Lala said about my grandmother was, she has a poodle in her arms. And Russ, right then I went, wow. She raised poodles. She was a poodle breeder. And she had a favorite poodle she carried around in her arms. His name was Pierre. And so my deceased grandmother had her deceased dog in her arms. Pierre and my grandmother came to visit through Lala. So after that, we began interacting, tried to help her start a business, and we're kind of continuing getting going with that. But we developed a personal relationship, and we moved in together. So, and after moving in together, we began to have experiences. So why don't you tell your history, like from Grandma Cheyenne on? I think that's of interest before we go into this other stuff.
Real quick, when I was 5 or 6, my neighbor that I called Grandma Cheyenne passed away. And my parents, we didn't go to the funeral, but later on they wanted to find her gravestone. And the place has thousands of gravestones.
We went to the graveyard, at least 10,000 graves.
In Baltimore City. And they were walking around and I heard her say, I'm over here. And she led me to it. I put my hand on it. And I said, I told my parents and they were like, oh, they didn't really know what to do. But
that's because she was 5 years old and didn't know how to read.
But that's when my dad decided to start slowly talking to me about what we are. You know what I mean? And he would sneak in the alien things and Atlantis and mediumship and energy working, how to control energy. So, but once me and Bob moved in, that's when everything went into high gear with crafts and different energy beings and a humanoid.
Yeah, let me tell you how it started. So we moved into this home, which we love, by the way, and we're making a life together here. So we began to hear knockings on the wall. Things got moved that we didn't move. We couldn't find them. They would show up later, the typical kind of strange stuff. So I decided to put up a security camera. So I put up a security camera and it triggered one day on motion. And the kind of room kind of went dark a little bit, like a shadow had come over the room. And after the shadow came over the room, the microphone and the security camera recorded the cleanest, clearest electronic voice phenomenon you could possibly imagine. And I'm going to try to emulate the voice as best I can. Hello, Xander. And that was her deceased boyfriend saying the name of his son. So anyway, after that, we decided that we would get more cameras, and we began experiencing all sorts of things in the house. And once we experienced all these other things in the house, orbs and other things, we decided, well, we're seeing all this stuff inside, and people are saying they've seen these orbs outside. Let's put some cameras outside. So that's when we put these cameras, these security cameras outside, and Russ, our life will never be the same. She became obsessed with looking at these videos all night long while I was asleep.
It's fun.
It's what she says, fun with it. Okay. So we were finding craft, entities, orbs, flying cryptids, portals, craft coming out of the portals, going back into portals. This is nonstop now. It happens every single night, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Something is going on in front of our cameras. So then we took our iPhone camera and went out to a field because people kept griping about, well, this stuff is in your IR LED and, you know, it's a bug. So we went out to this field and this orb flew over. It was 20 plus feet in diameter and bright as the sun. And we got a really good shot of it right above my truck. I saw it illuminate the ground. I stuck my camera out the truck window and went click, and there's the orb. Right in the center. And then we had these cryptids, which were beautiful, multicolored, pastel, rainbow-colored beings that floated across the sky. I could see them with my eye and see them in the camera. And she began taking pictures, and then I turned over and took pictures of my own because they were flying all around us, and there's some kind of cryptid. So anyway, so then let her tell a bunch of stuff she's seen. Do you want to ask any questions? Sorry, we're just going on and on.
No, that's what it's about. It's not about me. It's about you telling.
Okay, great. Well, she has lots of stuff to tell. So after that,
well, that's what we're here for. You tell us. You know,
I wanted to say one thing. I never really believed. I mean, I'm open and I respect everybody's thoughts, but I never really believed fairies. But we've captured some odd things that look like fairies, like a wing and legs and a head and
flapping wings. And so I put a gift out on our deck table, and the gift was taken. So, I mean, it looked like a fairy to me.
Wow. It's a couple times.
A couple of times. And then she first
strangely enough.
Yep. Keep going.
I'll just tell you this, right? Yeah. Talking about fairies. Where I'm at. Say again, sorry.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead with the fairy story.
Again,
go ahead. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, where I'm abducted, when I've been abducted at a place called Bingley, in a straight line as the crow flies, no more than a couple of miles, is a famous house and a garden at a place called Cottingley, and two cousins are famous for taking a famous picture that Conan Doyle went to look at called the Cottingley Fairies. Wow. And I think
I've seen this picture.
Houdini, he went as well to check the area out and talk to the two cousins. But that's just 2 miles from where I get abducted, where I've been abducted quite a lot in Bingley. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in when you're talking about fairies.
Okay, well, so we've seen that and other things, but then kind of I'm a scientist, and I got kind of into the nuts and bolts part of UFOs and so forth and so on. And I kept saying to her, you know, I really wish we could see a craft. Just one craft in the sky would be cool. So let her tell what happened.
So I was looking over the videos that we had, and I saw like just, what is it?
Flashes.
A little flash. And it didn't look like anything, but I got a feeling about it. So I zoomed in just on my phone. Nothing special was used. And I adjusted the lighting and stuff like that. And it kind of looks like the outline of the Black Knight. Is that what it's called? Black Knight? This thing showed up a second, third, and fourth time on different nights.
With different rotations. So let's suppose you saw it like this on night 1. You would see it like this on night 2. And on night 3, you would see it like this. And night 4, you would see it like that. And so that stuff has continued.
And then that was before. Recently, a flash happened again. And I got a feeling. I zoomed in. And it's a different craft. It's got a little hole in the center. It looks like a rocket ship almost.
Or a gear or something. So anyway.
And hold on, wait.
Yeah.
And so it has a symbol on it that I need to research because it means something. And then a night or two later, the same craft came back. It's amazing.
So on night one, it was like this, and it has a hole like right in the center of my hand. And then it was turned like this. And so like this, tilted and then turned like this. And you could still see the hole on the center of my hand, but you had a different aspect on the craft. It was identical to the previous craft, and it wasn't the same night. It was a different flash. It was a different camera video that she zoomed in on. So we now regularly see these craft appear multiple times, and they're always different distances and different rotations, but it's the same craft every time. And they're just giving us a roll call. These craft just come through. We get to look at them a couple of times, and it's time for a new one.
We've seen, this was like a month ago, I guess, we captured on video. It looked like mists or fog, and in it was a human body but alien face. And it looked, I mean, it's clear. You can see it. And then that night or a night later, I woke up with a triangle bruise on my arm right there. It's still kind of there. And then I was in the bed. I'm always in the bedroom playing with the orbs. An orb went into the triangle bruise and didn't come out. And that's on video. I posted that one.
So I took a picture of the bruise, which we have uploaded. We'll tell everybody where they can go look at all this evidence.
Because I'm implanted in my leg.
Okay, we'll tell everyone where they can go look at all this evidence in a little bit. But anyway, I took a picture of the bruise, which is available online, and I compared it to a bunch of pictures I found on the internet. And I identified it pretty conclusively as the bruise left by a high pressure pneumatic hypodermic. Somebody gave her an injection. And I slept through it. I slept later than usual and so forth. Okay. And so.
Hold on 1 second, the dog.
Yeah, we're going to take care of the dog in just a second.
I'm texting my son.
To come get the dog. Okay, so.
Oh, real quick, can I say something?
Yes, please.
Now, I do have an implant in my left thigh, and I was setting off airport metal detectors for a little while. And do you want to get the puppy dog?
Yeah, you keep talking. No.
So, and after, I never used to, and then 1 year I just started setting it off. And after a few years, I said, can I see what you're looking at? Because this happens all the time. And they showed me, and it was in my femur, left femur, and it was about the size of a piece of rice. And I never fell. I never had surgery. It was, and I can't explain it, but it sets off his EMF detector. I think that's what it is. It's strange.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
But my dad,
Really
my dad would tell me that he would be followed by UFOs when he walked the dog.
So,
Sorry, go ahead. That's all about the leg implant.
Yes. Sorry about that, Russ. So
I think your sound has just gone down slightly, so I can't hear as good.
Okay, let me turn up the gain a little bit. Is that better?
Not really.
Okay, let me see what we got. Yeah, we got the right microphone. Hang on just a minute. Okay, you ought to be able to hear us better now. Okay, yeah, we lost it. Okay, so let me come back. Okay, you should be able to hear us better now. I ended the automatic adjustment of the microphone and set it manually. Sorry about that, Russ. So
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, let me finish what I was saying about her implant. So after she found the implant in her leg, and she began having headaches and things like this. I says, I wonder if you have an implant in your head, because she would hear sounds and noises and then have this pain in her forehead. So I have a bunch of electronic equipment because I'm an electrical engineer in addition to my other things. So I had a tri-field meter, and I put an RF field meter up. She held an RF field meter up to her head, and I turned off every RF emitting device in the house. I put all the phones in airplane modes. I turned off all the Wi-Fi. I did everything I could easily and quickly to turn off any RF interference. And she held the tri-field meter up to her head and moved it around until she got to right here. And right there at that spot, she had 0.2 milliwatts of RF energy being burst out of her head. No human puts out 0.2 milliwatts of RF energy. She has an implant of some type in her head, and it's transmitting a signal, and it's burst transmitting the signal. We don't know what it is yet. We haven't done enough analysis, but that's the next thing we're going to try to figure out about what's in her body.
I'd like to find out what it is. Yeah. And, if they can, is it helping me or is it hurting me? Like, I don't really know.
So I think the story your audience ought to take away from just the little stuff we've said is she's the experiencer with all these unbelievable abilities. And I'm the scientist with all the toys that can help her document what she sees and does and help test and prove that the things she's experiencing are real. Mm-hmm. And so the two of us have kind of made this partnership, as well as turning into a couple that lives together.
And it's helpful because
so
most of my life I didn't know.
Actually having
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Can you remember having the implants put in?
No, I've had strange.
Can you actually remember having the implant?
No, I don't.
Now she has kind of
remember. No.
she has kind of dreams or / vision dreams of having been abducted and visited,
put on a
table with other people around her and so forth. So I feel that she's been abducted, but she does not view it as kind of a memory. She feels like it was a dream.
Right. Yeah.
On the other hand, she's had experiences.
So you can't actually remember being abducted? No?
No.
But she's had other experiences which are not a dream.
Yeah, I've seen a craft. It was so close. I saw the details of the underbelly.
There were two of you talking at the same time.
I said I've seen craft UFOs where it was so close that I saw every detail of the bottom of it, and it was huge. And it was shooting it looked like fireballs. I don't know what it was, but
that, and she's had visitations at night that have not been all that pleasant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had.
So your visitations at night, is this like an abduction, or is this what is this?
So I don't know exactly. I just know I found out other people go through it. I woke up. I had a weird dream about other aliens, but I woke up and I could feel something having sex intercourse with me, and that's never happened. I'm not crazy, and it kept going on for a few seconds until I freaked out, and it was real, but I couldn't see anybody. But I told him about the dream I had before that I woke up to. And he told me that it's common that people do go through it. I just never told anybody because it's embarrassing,
That, and she's had these kind of dreams.
At that time when you thought this was happening, was you alone in the house?
I was alone in the house. My legs were together, so that was weird also. But I felt everything like it was actually happening, and nobody was with me.
So did you get up and sort of like run out of the room to look and see, if somebody had broke into the house into your room?
No, because when I woke up to it, I was awake. I mean, I was feeling it while my eyes were open and I was awake. And then when I panicked, it stopped. And I mean, I knew it wasn't a person. I knew it was something, you know.
But I'd say she had the typical shocked, frozen reaction.
Yeah.
She froze in place.
Yeah.
So the other thing I want to bring up that she sometimes has told me, and she thinks it's a dream.
Usually, if that happens to a woman, usually the norm, is that they're actually, looking to find out just what had basically had intercourse
Right.
with them.
When I have experiences with aliens, I'm oddly sedated and calm, which is weird because I suffer from panic attacks normally, but with them, I'm almost like on Xanax. It's weird, you know.
Yep. So let me tell a different story that's. I want to make sure that everybody understands.
Say that again. Sorry, a real bad signal tonight. A real bad signal.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
I want to say that when I am dealing with aliens, I'm very calm, oddly calm, almost like as if I were on Xanax or something, because I normally am a very anxiety, like panic attack kind of person. So,
okay. So let me tell another story. So that your audience knows that Lala has had a dream. I don't think it's a dream, but she feels like it's a dream. And in this dream, she's in a room full of people, and the people in the room that she's with are on tables, and or she thinks they're logs, but I think they're tables. But anyway, she sees entities that are there doing whatever they're doing, and doing tests, doing procedures, whatever it is they're doing. But in addition to that, she sees a military officer in uniform with a clipboard taking notes of what's going on. And with that military officer present in this room full of entities, that tells me personally that she has had MILABs. Even though she remembers it as a dream, I am certain that she has had MILABs.
Right. Wow. So, but can you can remember the officer though, as well as the aliens?
I just remember it was an overall image of him, no detail or anything like that. And with the aliens, some of them looked human. Some of them looked like they had reptile skin. This is before I knew what a reptilian was. I didn't know. I didn't look into it. I didn't know anything about it. And they were really big and bulky. I never really saw a gray, actually. It was usually either the humans and the reptilian kind of things.
But I mean, the human she saw, he had a uniform on. Even though she couldn't tell his features, he was in a uniform with a clipboard making notes.
So it was a human-like figure in a uniform with a clipboard. So
and a bunch of aliens in the room.
But could it have not been an officer? Could it have been somebody else?
Sure, yeah. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah.
Like a scientist or so?
Sure, yep.
Except he was in uniform. That's the reason I thought it was military. He was in uniform.
Yeah.
But I'm open because I don't know.
Military doctors wearing uniforms,
True. All true.
Yeah.
This is not a clear-cut memory. She came to me with it as I had this dream.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like she's had MILABs. She's got she's right here in her face. She has a scoop mark right next to her eye. and these implants, and just all of this stuff says to me abductions and my labs and whatever. And she's had this quote dream where she was in a room with a female entity, and in the room she went and grabbed two boys she wanted to save and tried to hide under a table. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And so, I mean, I think she's had hybrid children.
Wow.
And have been presented with them. But again, I want to tell you, she's experiencing these things as dreams, not as she remembers them like we're talking right now. But I just think this is the typical screen memory leakage that happens when you have these abductions.
And also, I do have psychic dreams in general for like warnings and this and that. But I did have a dream, and the dream said, look up M56. And so I looked it up because I asked before I went to bed, I said, where am I from? Because I don't feel like this is home. I don't fit in. And M56 is what Lyra and Draco and Palladians. And I didn't know that. I realized it was a whole big thing with people. And that's how I found out, because they told me in a dream.
Okay, so let me add quickly. She told you the story about the military-looking person with a clipboard and the alien entities in the room that are reptilians. She never heard the word reptilian until she told me that dream, and I said, "This is a typical My Labs abduction with reptilians in the room." She said, "Reptilians?" I says, "Yeah, didn't they have scaly skin?" And that was the first time she ever heard them identified as reptilians.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And we've known each other for 9 months.
Yeah.
We've known each other for 9 months.
Yeah.
I mean, all this stuff we're happening to us has happened in the last 9 months.
Yeah. Wow. That is that's amazing. So, I mean, if you've got any video footage you want to show, you can do so, because we have a facility on here where we can share.
Let me see what I can pull up.
If you want to, if you don't, it don't matter.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, we have stuff. We give me a second to pull it up, because I was not expecting it, but we're happy to do it.
No problem.
Okay, which one of these are videos? Some of them are videos.
I think you just click on the image and then press present.
We'll do the, I guess,
if I remember rightly.
This one?
Yeah, we'll show them that one and then
Yeah.
that one, because there was
Different on
a.
my side.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I got it. Hang on 1 second. Let me get. Where is the StreamYard window? Hang on a minute. I got to find the StreamYard window. I managed to hide it. Oh, I know where it is. It's inside Chrome. Sorry. Let me do this. I'm getting my act together. Sorry about that. Let me get these videos up. All right, here we go. Okay. Let me do
I'm
present.
still trying to get my head around StreamYard.
Mm.
I've had it for about 5 months, and I'm still working around it.
Mm-hmm.
Say again. I think it. Present. Yeah. Present slides or a video file, and share a screen.
Can you see that yet?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So
there we go.
Okay. So
Wow.
this is an example. So this happened in the last 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you describe?
That's one of the crafts that came. It was a flash that I got a feeling about. So I zoomed in and I adjusted the lighting. And so that came back. That same one came back with a different angle a few nights later. But if you see on the bottom left little leg there, I zoomed that in, and it looks like there's something standing in the little light window. It's weird, but I have a picture.
It looks like the torso, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's like the upper body of a human.
Yeah, exactly. We're glad you said it, Russ, because we hate to say stuff like that. But anyway, this is it again later, but rotated and closer. So it's larger and closer. Look, it's grainy. We realize it's
But you
green.
can see the hole in the center. It's lighter and pointed at the top. It's got two on the bottom part. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So
Wow.
just let me keep going through this because we got a lot of stuff. So this is one of her favorites.
The rod.
The rod. Yeah, this is a rod that came down, and we get these things all the time. And here it is again.
So when crafts come, the orbs or rods or skyfish, they go full force and almost like letting us know, like, hey, something's going to happen. Pay attention. And the orbs will fly towards what I'm supposed to be looking at.
Okay, so literally, these things trigger the camera. The things trigger the camera, and when they trigger the camera, that's when we get the flash.
Yeah, it looks quite a lot different to the normal skyfish or rods that I've seen.
Yeah.
I filmed quite a lot up very close, but I think there's some flaying at the top, if I'm not mistaken, right up at the top end.
Yep. Well, we're going to get to the ones. We're going to get to the ones that you recognize in a second.
Yeah. But I mean, that is so unusual.
Oh yeah,
That in itself is unusual.
okay. Here's the video. So let me take it back, and you can see it went fast. It went really fast.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. Yeah.
Pictures of it.
Okay, and here we are. We're out in the field. So why don't you tell them about all this?
This is us just using our cell phones with no IR stuff.
No flash, nothing. This is self-illuminating.
And we'll get all kinds of stuff, but I'll ask them, can you come where I am now? And I'll watch my home video camera, and I see them after I see them flying away from the house towards me. And it's amazing. They listen. I mean, because I have good intentions, so you know what I mean.
But it gets better. So here, look at this. So we did not see the illumination on the ground until
that's more like a beam, isn't it?
It's a beam. We took a picture because we could see the beam, but we didn't see the illumination on the ground until we looked at the photo. So we didn't stick our head out the window to see if we could see the craft.
Yeah.
And at the side of it, you can see there's like a reflection of the beam at the right hand side.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Okay, so let me keep going.
Wow.
And here is a thing full of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is just, the sky is full of them. I can't remember if you took this or me.
Took it.
Okay, one of us took it. Doesn't matter. Both of us are taking pictures. And I think I took this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is us in our bedroom. We don't mind doing this. And you'll just see these orbs flying all over the place.
Yeah.
And she sticks her hand up and tells them to do stuff, and they do it.
Wow.
So I'll ask questions, and for a yes, I ask them to light up, and for a no, I ask them to just not light up at all. And I wasn't doing that here. I was just talking to them, but it's interesting.
And that's me laying next to her with the phone in my hand, looking at the camera live. Okay.
Wow.
Right.
Heck, that's amazing.
Yep. So, I'll tell you what, okay.
There's a close-up of the little leg.
That's the close-up of the little leg on that craft we showed earlier with the vertical humanoid glowing figure in the door.
Mm-hmm. It's something there. It's weird. Or interesting, sorry.
It's so solid. It's
yeah.
so solid.
There and illuminated. So it's like an energy being or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me keep going. Because here's this thing again.
Yeah.
Now, should show the black knight craft.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm going backwards and we're going to get there.
Sorry.
So this is, again, the kind of orbs we see outside. And I don't know whether people can see it or not. See that flash? There was a little flash right there. So the orbs swirl around, and right here was a little flash. It's probably hard to see, so I won't go over it again. But the flash was there, and she concentrates on those flashes, takes screenshots and zooms in, and that's where we find these craft.
And this one is of something lighting up our neighbor's roof, and it's been doing that a couple nights now, and nothing's there doing it. It's just, I mean, there's something invisible.
If you could look across the yard at the neighbor's house, you will see something illuminating things. And you can just make out that on top of the roof, to the left of the lighting flash, the roof is slightly illuminated. So we've enhanced that. Mm-hmm. And we'll get there. We'll get there as to what we see.
Wow.
There's skyfish.
There's the skyfish.
I like skyfish.
She loves them. There you go. There's another one. There are a couple of them. Okay, let me keep going. Here we are. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. And again, me looking at the thing while she's talking to the orbs. And I don't want to hear dust, Russ. Let me tell you, I don't want to hear dust. And the reason I don't want to hear dust is dust doesn't answer intelligently, and dust doesn't do logarithmic spirals. Dust doesn't do that. So, and let me keep going.
There's a lot. Be careful. Okay. You know, there is no doubt that there's a lot of orbs that are dust, and you know, you can't get away from the fact.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes when the maneuvering and the maneuvering in a way to a command, then it's a different aspect.
Yeah.
You know, but you can't lose sight. You've got to keep, you know, grounded and say, well, yeah, you know, sort of like some things could be, but I must admit, you know, what I'm seeing, you know, it's pretty good evidence.
Thank you.
Okay, so this light right here goes up and down. Let me start it over so you can really see it. So this light goes up and down. You see that. And right here, the roof gets illuminated just slightly. And we're going to show you what's in that roof. It's creepy.
I think it's a different one.
It doesn't matter. We're going to get there. Let me go get that.
There's a crosscraft.
Yeah. Where's the cross? Yeah. Oh, phooey. Sorry, I'm such a klutz, Russ. So this is a zoomed in craft. And look at this thing. It's like a cross. And this same figure showed up on the craft that we are showing you from the last 2 nights where she zoomed in. I mean, this stuff is just kind of weird, Russ. Okay, so let me show you some other stuff. I just want to make sure you see everything. Okay, look, yeah, let's get to these. This was visible to the naked eye. That is not a flash photo. That is a photo that I took out the side door of the truck while she was on the other side taking a ton of other pictures. Same kind of thing. And we'll get to those too. But first, we decided to stop at a graveyard. Okay. Here's the trifecta.
Up, down. Up. Left. Right. Oh. Right there. We found it.
Okay, so that was the tri-field meter, and we found the hot spot, is what the point was. And these things are at a graveyard. Every one of these photos is at a graveyard. And then you can see the gravestones and the orbs and everything else flying through. I mean, wow. It's just never ending. This is an orb we saw out in the yard, out in the field when we were out there. We were just out there, we decided to stop on the way home from dinner. Okay, let me go up here. I want to get to and here. This is my favorite.
Very similar.
I'm sick of hearing about moths. So let me tell you why I'm sick of hearing about moths. What moth has 3 wings on one side and 6 wings on the other? It's not a moth. It's some kind of critter.
Oh yeah, definitely. We just don't know what they are.
No.
Myself personally, I think there's some kind of radio wave transmitted to people that are abductees. Personally.
Oh wow! I never even knew anything about that.
And she loves these things.
Yeah.
These critters, she just loves them. And there's the ones that are in color. Okay, so we were out in this field. And we could see these things with our naked eye, Russ. They were illuminated. And this picture's not really doing justice to the beautiful colors. They were pastels and like rainbows. And this is one she just picked up her phone and pointed it at the sky and went click. And we could see them with the naked eye.
Wow.
Okay, and here is the critter in the smoke in the front. This is the front of our house. And you can see the humanoid shape in the smoke, which was not visible, by the way. You couldn't see the smoke. The smoke was in the yard, and there's that critter in the bottom in the middle.
Critter sounds like you're talking about raccoon.
Yeah, but never mind. It's some kind of humanoid being.
Well, whatever you want to call it, what you like. It's unusual.
Very
It
unusual.
really is.
Okay, and here's another one of these beams with this stuff coming down with it. I don't know what they're. Oh, and okay. Let me go past this.
That was another craft.
Okay, these are other craft. Okay, let me do this. I'm wondering what I was trying to do is show before and after. Okay, all right. Is this a video? Yes. Okay, notice this roof line here illuminating. It's just barely visible, this illuminating, and you'll see flashes in the craft that are above it. I want to show you what happens, what we found when we illuminated the thing. Oh, come on. Okay, do this. Okay. We enhanced a screenshot of that illuminated portion of the roof, and inside you could see these two clear humanoids that we circled.
Wow.
And this is happening to our poor neighbors regularly. And Russ, what do? Go over and knock on the door of somebody you don't know and say, hey, I think aliens are coming in your house every night. No, we don't do that. So I'm just telling you, we see this stuff nonstop happening all around us. Okay,
That is amazing.
Okay, I think we've shared enough for us.
So whereabouts are those the last two pictures? The last picture with the two like figures. Whereabouts are they seen?
They were on the roof of our neighbor across the yard. So that video you saw across the yard where the roof lit up a little bit.
Yeah.
That was what was in the middle of the lit up portion. The aliens are going in and out of their house through the roof. I mean, what can you do with this? We are just presenting evidence. We don't know what this is. We're just presenting evidence.
It's like, I've investigated this subject for 30 years, in particular one case, and something that is still, it still runs through my mind is that an old village seems like that there's been alien activity, like in the old village, and I'm speaking to other people now that are telling me the same, that what they're saying is, when will people wake up? Because, it's happening to us. There's other people where they live in this area that are talking about seeing the same kind of things. And like the chap said, to me, there's a lot going on, sort of like, what is it that's going on? To him, he thinks that there's mass abductions taking place where he lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the last time Bud Hopkins and John Mack did a calculation, and it was very conservative. They were 3 million people in the United States of America alone had been abducted.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you some statistics now, and this is factual. About over 10 years ago, I was on the BBC radio. It were radio, I think, Radio Leeds, and we're talking about UFOs, people being abducted, you know, well, where do you think they're going? I told, you know, told the presenter that I'm abducted and put into a military unit and taken and off world. And it's hard to believe, Russ. And I said, well, there's something else. I said, last year that there was 160,000 people in my country, in United Kingdom, that went missing. And I says, you know, and I always wonder, where are these people? And she says, oh, well, they come back the next day. I said, no, but they don't. Because to be a missing person, you've got to be missing for, I think it's 24, 48 hours, right? I says, before they can even register you as a missing person, you see. And I says, you know, 160,000. So she got one of her researchers to ring up while we was on air talking about this. And the researcher came back to her and she said, oh, he's wrong. It wasn't 160,000 people that went missing last year. It was 100 and I think it was 190,000, she said.
Wow.
Closer to 190,000. And, you know, she said, oh, my God, I don't like the sound of that whatsoever. And I says, and the proportion of people that are actually come back, are found, or just turn up, I said, is something like 1,000 people out of the 190,000. I said, that's, you know, not a big proportion, a large proportion whatsoever. So where are the people? I said, I think I know where they are. And she says, I don't want to even think about it. Anyway, thank you for having me on the show. And bye. Do you know how many people now in my country, this is 10 years in the United Kingdom, go missing every year? 250,000 people go missing.
Wow.
The numbers have gone up, you know, 50,000, 60,000 plus. And that's on a small island like England. You know, United Kingdom, I should say.
Wow.
Where are all these people going to?
Right.
But anyway, I just want to tell you, you know, so.
Where do you think they're going to?
Tell us where you think they're going. Come on, tell us. They're being abducted.
With me being abducted and put into a military unit, I have seen other people when we've gone on a rescue mission. Well, it turned out to be a rescue mission. And there were all these people, slaves, right? And they were in an underground base. They had to be taken care of. For another alien race to put them back into their time frame is very, very hard. It's a very hard thing to do. Only the alien race that abducts you can put you in the appropriate times they took you from. So, you know, it's very, very hard. Very, very hard indeed to put you back and to put somebody else back, you know.
Wow.
It's sad.
Yes, you know, David Pilatus is missing 411. And in the United States, it's hundreds of thousands.
Oh, his camera went out.
Yep.
That was a storm. That's
Yeah,
okay.
that's okay. We'll just entertain his audience. What did we forget to cover?
Your Bigelow thing.
Oh, yes. Okay, so we are putting in a grant request to the Bigelow Institute for Consciousness Studies, And we're going to work to show that people like Lala can actually communicate with the other side and get stuff back from them in terms of information. So we're doing that. And one more thing we're doing, which I find extremely interesting, and I hope your audience feels it's interesting, but I want to make sure they understand we are at the very beginning of what I'm about to tell you. So Jimmy Blanchett, who is an amateur radio operator, is been doing CE5 for a long time, and he decided to try to marry his amateur radio communications capabilities with his CE5 interest. So he began transmitting signals with his station, which he built to bounce signals off the moon to communicate as a reflector, use the moon as a reflector. So he sent signals up, and he began getting responses from craft. First RF transmissions and then visual. So he has a camera, he points in the same direction as the antennas, he transmits a signal, and the aliens show up and wiggle around and do geometric diagrams on the sky in craft.
He's amazing.
He's amazing. So this is Jimmy Blanchett. He's an amateur radio operator. I got to know about him because I'm also an amateur radio operator. I've been one since 1964, and I do all sorts of science and other things with radio. I started 2 companies which are based solely on my experience with radio. So I said to Jimmy, you know, this is interesting. I said, we have people like Lala Bright here to help us. She's interested in amateur radio because she wants to be able to do amateur radio in case the world has a real problem. She can have emergency communications and be able to communicate with people. So she's like a prepper wanting to be able to communicate with her radio. All right. So the 3 of us have gotten together, and here's what we are going to attempt to do. Using Jimmy Blanchett's transmission scheme, we're going to transmit signals to the sky, and we will visually record the response from the entities. I will program a artificial intelligence machine learning computer to look at the visual stuff that's coming back from the sky. And Lala will say, here's what I think they're saying. And so those 3 things, transmit to the sky with Jimmy's stuff, me receive the stuff with a camera and put it in a machine learning machine, her telling me what it says, we believe we can build for the first time ever a 2-way communication system with the entities where you don't have to have any abilities. That's what we're trying to do. And you know, Rosie, if we are able to let anybody who can walk up, make a transmission to the sky and get a response from the entities, that's going to change a lot of minds. And so we don't know that we're going to succeed, but we're going to work hard at it. It's a lot of work. It's going to take a year or more to do it, but we're determined to try, because if we can establish 2-way communications, that exchange of information with whoever this is flying in our skies, we know it'll be a big deal.
Wow, sounds amazing. It sounds.
Doggy.
Yeah, it does sound amazing, doesn't it, Russ? It's just, we are very excited about the possibilities.
Wow.
So one more thing I want to make sure we do is that Lala and I are going to be at the UFO Con.
Seeing this and finding out more about it, you know, when it happens.
Okay, so let me tell you one more thing, if I can. Lala and I are going to be at UFO Con 2023 in San Francisco on a couple of weekends from now. So UFO Con 2023. We will be a speaker on the Saturday talking about the same stuff we're telling you about, and we'll have a table where you can interact with us and so forth if you come to UFO Con. UFO Con 2023. Just go take a look, and if you can, come to the show, and we'd be happy to see you.
I'm doing glitter.
I'm sorry.
Festival glitter.
And and Lala's going to do festival glitter face painting. She's a terrific face painting artist. She's face painted at the White House. So, I mean, she's very talented with her face painting. And so it'll be fun. We're just going out there to have some fun and tell what we're seeing. And hope everybody enjoys the show that Lori and Fenton puts on every year.
John Yost will be there.
And John Yost will be there talking about his film that he's done. It's Alien Encounters Explanations. Let me look it up. I don't want to say the name, if you don't mind. Yes, John Yost film.
Well, we've got a real bad connection.
That's okay.
I think we're powering through it. It's what we're doing, hoping that it's actually recorded. We're powering through it, hoping it's.
Apologize.
That's okay.
And I'm going to have to use a different computer because I'm going to have to use one of these ether cables connection.
We understand.
Yeah, we understand completely.
We've been having a really good time, so thank you. Do you want me to find it?
Yes, if you don't mind. Yeah, so we were going to tell you at the UFO Con, John Yost is featured with his movie about his abduction experiences. And the thing that's different is he is giving the entire narrative of the abduction experience and the impact on his life. And it's from the earliest days until, again, it's Alien Abduction Answers is the name of the movie. It will be the Friday night feature at UFO Con 2023. And I hope anyone who hasn't seen it, especially those who've been abducted, see it, because it's a very, very emotional, personal tale told by a professional movie maker. I mean, it's really well done, and he deserves all our support for having done it. I mean, Lala got a lot out of it. She's an experiencer.
Very much, yeah. He's a good guy.
Yes, he is a very, very nice man.
Well, we've had a terrible connection tonight, and I'm going to have to get my other computer sorted out for next week. You're going to have to come back on the show again.
Okay.
Okay, so Russ, I believe that it continued to record us even when you weren't on the air. So I'm hoping the entire YouTube thing had us in it. So we just kept going when the connection was bad. We just kept going.
That's the best thing. That's the best thing. What I'm going to say, I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to definitely get the other computer sorted out, and we'll leave on a high. And we'll have to have you on again, Bob and Lala, and not so far from now, because I want to hear more and see some more images and what have you, and get this out there to people. And it's been fantastic listening to you both. It has.
Thank you.
And what I will say is thanks for coming on the show. And so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to end the show by saying thanks to Bob and to Lala, and amazing what you've told me, and amazing images. It really is. So I will say thanks again, and good night, God bless to you, and see you again shortly.
Okay.
Take care. Good night, God bless.
This was fun.
Thank you very much.
From me.
We take